Hello everyone, my name is Maria, and today we are not looking at the villas and the sea views, we are looking at the news, my friends. November in Northern Cyprus was intense, the budget was in minus, fuel went up, Starlink went down, police went everywhere, and even the parking lots in Famagusta went on a fitness program. So make yourself a coffee, close your internet banking, and let's go through 30 news stories that already happened with numbers, sarcasm, and a little bit of therapy. Let's start with the big news. For 2026, the government is already planning a budget deficit of about 25.7 billion Turkish lira, which is equivalent to 525 million euros. Which is 40% more than the last year. The total budget stands at about 191 billion Turkish lira, 3.9 billion euros, and the deficit still grows as a share of that. So basically the state has its own little spending problem. And if your personal budget looks messy this year, don't worry, you are completely aligned with the government strategy. Cigarettes, of course, do not want to stay behind. Prices went up by 3 Turkish liras, so now some packs cost you almost 70 Turkish lira, which is about 1.5 euros. And some brands hit 95 Turkish lira, which is about 2 euros. Yes, smoking here is still a bargain comparing to Europe, but your lungs do not know that and keep paying a full price. So with the new prices, November basically says, if you don't stop smoking for your health, maybe you do it for your budget. Official inflation is low while real prices do remain high. Official inflation for October is just 1.09%, which sounds very innocent, right? But in real life, prices went up on 394 different goods. Queens jumped by 90%, pumpkin by 72%, clothes and shoes by almost 20%. Only restaurants show a small decrease in the index, probably because people stop dining out and stay home crying over the supermarket bill. So the index looked calm, but your purchasing power is still going down. Politically, things are spicy too. This month, Erhurman makes his first foreign visit as the 6th president of TRNC to Turkey. In Ankara, he does the full official program, lays a wreath in Anıtkabir, meets the Speaker of the Parliament, the Foreign Minister, and then has a big shiny meeting and joint press conference with President Erdoğan. Very formal, very serious, like a first date where everybody already knows they're technically married. Erdoğan stands in front of the cameras and basically says, "Look, we're not playing this game again. For us, the only real solution on Cyprus is 2 states, period." He repeats that the problem is not in Ankara. The problem is that the Greek Cypriot side does not want to accept equal sovereignty and equal international status for Turkish Cypriots. Translation to simple language, they don't want to share power, money or EU comfort, so we are not running back to endless talks just for the photos. Erdoğan also reminds everyone that Turkey and the North speak with one voice. He says Turkey will keep working in close coordination with Erhurman for a fair and realistic solution and will never leave Turkish Cypriots alone on the international stage. Erhurman on his side politely confirms. Turkey stays as key guarantor and security partner, especially when the South keeps buying new toys for their army and inviting half of NATO to visit. He says very directly, the guarantee role of Turkey is a basic element of security for Turkish Cypriots. So if someone was dreaming about let's remove guarantors and everyone will magically love each other, no, that movie is not in the cinema. Erhurman also repeats one important line. Turkish Cypriots are one of the 2 equal founding peoples of the island, and this status is not for sale and not for negotiation. He sends a message about future talks. No more talks for the sake of talks, no more endless processes with no deadlines, and no more models where political equality of Turkish Cypriots is optional. So he tries to look like the guy who wants dialogue plus results, not just new UN coffee meetings. On the top of that, Erhurman reminds everybody that Turkish Cypriots have sovereign rights to the resources of the whole island, which is gas, sea zones, roads, and all that beautiful expensive stuff. Ignoring these rights he calls unacceptable, which is in other words, if you want to cook gas soup in the Eastern Med, don't forget half of the kitchen. Now, the question everyone really cares about, which is money. After the visit, we don't see any brand new mega package like, surprise, here are extra billions, go build a metro in Girne. Instead, Erdoğan and Erhurman talk mainly about continuing projects that are already on paper. Roads, hospitals, schools, digital projects, agriculture and industry. all that is inside the Economic and Financial Protocol of 2025 of around 21 billion Turkish lira. That's roughly 430 million euros for you, my friends. So, new money? Not just yet. Old money? Yes, they're still coming. Infrastructure keeps on going, slowly but surely. Highways, public buildings, e-government apps, fiber optic deals with Turk Telecom, and the whole idea is to make the North more modern and a bit more sanction-proof. North Cyprus at World Travel Market in London. At the World Travel Market in London, North Cyprus showed its beaches, nature, and history to the world. The tourism minister met tour operators, agencies, and media, trying to attract more visitors to the island. The stand got a lot of attention, and the country did its best to look beautiful and stress-free. Because when you can't fix the economy quickly, at least you can invite more tourists to enjoy the chaos with you. Next, a little courtroom drama. 5 Greek Cypriots stand trial for entering a military forbidden zone, and the military court finds them not guilty. All 5 walk out free. 3 go home, while 2 stay in the system because of other separate cases in Iskele. So 1 file closes, but other 2 files keep living their own life. Because on the island, even when you win, there is always one more document. Classic car rally in Lefkosha. For the 42nd anniversary of TRNC, Lefkosha hosted the 15th International Classic Car Rally. More than 50 crews, including teams from Germany and Turkey, joined the event. There were slalom races, shiny old cars, and a lot of nostalgia. So while the economy looks tired, at least the car looked fabulous. Southern part of Cyprus also has its own adrenaline. Near Paphos, an earthquake around 5.2-5.7 on a scale hits, followed by a long series of aftershocks. In total, close to 50 quakes in the area altogether. People run into the streets, buildings get evacuated, and everybody suddenly remembers where the stairs are. The good news, no huge destruction is reported. The bad news, everybody remembers that this is a tectonic plate, not a resort in a snow globe. Now, from natural shock to human migration. On a serious note, 21 Syrians arrived illegally by sea near Deep Karpas and are detained by the authorities. They are found on the coast close to so-called farm zone and are taken into custody. The story showed once again that the island stayed on one of the migration routes, even without official refugee structure. The human side of it is people risk their lives for a chance at something better. The legal side, arriving without documents here does not end with a welcome drink. Now let's go to the most festive part of November, the 42nd anniversary of TRNC. All over the north, it basically turns into one big birthday party. Ceremonies, concerts, parades, sports, and fireworks. And of course, Turk Yıldızları flying over Girne, scaring all the seagulls and half of the tourists. In Lefkosha, they start with speeches, 21 gun salute, flag, and an army marching. Very serious and very official. And then someone remembers it's also a long weekend and half of the country runs for a kebab and coffee. In the evenings, there are concerts, air shows, youth parades, horses, sports, music. Basically, even if you wanted to stay home and be antisocial, the island does not let you. So if you see jets in the sky, traffic jams in Lefkosha, and fireworks in Girne, don't panic, it's not a new crisis. It's just North Cyprus saying, I'm 42 and still very loud. New generation cash machines from 2026. Business owners get another piece of joy. The tax office reminds everyone that from January the 1st, 2026, all old-style cash registers become illegal. Everyone who must use a till needs to switch to a new generation devices. So if your till looks like it remembers the 1990s, it officially has an end date. Better to update it to tech before the tax office updates your stress level. And since we're already in inspection mode, let's switch to nighttime Girne, where even the street cats look like undercover police. Police did surprise inspections in Girne's entertainment places. They found one bar playing amplified music without permission and several bars and markets working after legal closing times. Legal actions were started against responsible people, and the message was simple. Play music, but with a license. Sell drinks, but on time. And if your business plan was no one will notice, November disagreed. Now let's move on to a bit of diplomacy. No music this time, but with a halloumi on the table. Another important scene, the first working meeting between Erhurman and Christodoulides. They sit together for about an hour and a half and call the atmosphere positive, which, for Cyprus politics, is already breaking news. Erhurman presents a 10-point package with easier crossings, questions of mixed marriages and citizenship, youth, football matches, Halloumi issues, green line trade, and more. And yes, even Halloumi sits on negotiation table today. And if you think that your relationship is complicated, try organizing football and cheese between two communities. Exhaust checks. Every fifth car fails. The environment also gets attention. Authorities test exhaust fumes from 110 cars and 23 of them fail the legal standards. Owners are told clearly, repair first, then come back for the test. So, roughly every fifth car turns out to be not a vehicle, but an active industrial chimney. The message is simple. Less smoke, more mechanics. Now let's talk about the biggest police show of the month with the most ironic name, Operation Peace. One night, police, special forces, and even the army went out all across northern Cyprus and basically said, "Good evening, we're checking absolutely everything." Girne and Iskele under special control. Busy streets, workers' area, abandoned houses, public spaces, cars on the roads. The city was combed from top to bottom. They found people staying on the island without legal status and a few who were already wanted. So some long-stay visitors suddenly got an all-inclusive package in police custody. For drivers, there was a new level of fun. Besides alcohol tests, police started using fast drug tests for around 30 euros each. So now it's not just don't drink and drive, it's don't party and drive at all. Special units worked in higher risk areas, checking empty buildings and helping with ID checks. Very action movie style, just without slow motion and background music. In Çatalköy, police stopped a parked car and found cannabis, a metal grinder, and a 49-centimeter axe inside. The classic nothing suspicious here officer starter pack. Both men were arrested on the spot, and the court gave police extra time to check their phones and connections. Residents and tourists actually welcomed the raids and said they want this kind of control more often. Because everyone wants freedom and nightlife on the resort island, but also wants to be sure their neighbor at the bar is holding a cocktail, not a criminal record. Now let's go back to money, but this time to debt. Devrim Barchin said the internal public debt had exploded. And according to him, when the previous four-party government left, finances were clean. But now, internal debt reached over 11 billion Turkish lira. And that is 555% increase in just 10 months alone, which doesn't look like a curve, it looks more like a rocket. He says, as long as the current guys stay in power, neither public finances nor the economy can really recover. And according to him, the government is solving every problem the same way. Print bonds, take another loan, repeat, like a Netflix series with only one boring plot twist. And the scary part is, all this borrowing doesn't just make nice headlines, it actually puts the stability of the whole economy and financial system at risk. So yes, we joke about it, but your future tax bill are already laughing back. A man with 300 years sentence caught in North Cyprus. In Girne, police arrested a Turkish citizen, Fatih Fidan, who had a 300-year prison sentence in Turkey for fraud and forgery. He reportedly arrived by boat from Taşucu and skipped migration control completely. He was charged with illegal entry and kept in custody for further investigation. The lesson is, if you already owe 300 years to the justice system, maybe North Cyprus is not your best hideout. Now, a bit of good news to dilute all this crime content. On the positive side, not everyone arrives to make trouble. The Pakistan Community Welfare and Social Support Association completes its second cleanup on North Cyprus. They clean parks, beaches, and promise to repeat this every 3 months. They say as long as some people are not ashamed to throw trash, we will not be ashamed to pick it up. So while some people destroy trust and budgets, others literally clean the island with their own hands. Rainy, cooler weekends. For a few days, the island remembered that it actually has something like autumn. Temperature dropped to around plus 23 degrees, and in some places there were even showers and thunderstorms. So people pulled out jackets they hadn't seen since spring and flooded Instagram with finally some rain stories. So yes, Northern Cyprus officially has more than two settings, not just hot and extra crispy. We also have dramatic winter mode, which turns on the second the temperature drops to plus 20 degrees and everyone walks around like they're surviving Arctic conditions. Meanwhile, on the other side of the island, South Cyprus decided to stabilize their military climate. They're expanding the Evangelos Lourakis naval base in Mari to host ships and submarines from France, the US, Israel, Greece, India, and more. Basically, a NATO parking lot with extras. Experts say this move seriously boosts the military role of South Cyprus in the Eastern Mediterranean, while the Turkish side watches very closely and not in a relaxing way. So, while one half of the island talks about checkpoints and Halloumi, the other half quietly builds a small multinational harbor. Fake citizenship hub for almost 5,000 euros. In Girne, one local genius turns consulting into a scam. He takes 4,875 euros from a person promising to help with citizenship and then simply does nothing. No papers, no process, just profit. The case is under investigation and the victim publicly warns others to be careful with fast-track citizenship offers. Moral, if someone offers you citizenship faster than a pizza delivery, it's not a service, it's most likely a scam. Now let's move on to the internet drama of the month, Starlink. BTHK, the telecom regulator, announced that Starlink and similar satellite system could not be imported or used without a license on the island. Many people panicked thinking that special anti-Starlink law had just been passed. In reality, it was an old 2012 regulation plus a new decision. No license, no satellite toys. So there were also rumors that this move will actually help local fiber optic projects to eliminate competition. So if you use Starlink, you suddenly have to choose to hide the dish or wait and hope the rules change later. But the control does not stop with the internet, my friends. Since Tufan Erhurman took office, many people noticed that the system started to change faster. The health ministry in municipalities increased checks on food businesses, which is restaurants, bakeries, and shops. One very dirty food facility was closed immediately after a shocking inspection. And at the same time, the Çatalca-Esentepe municipality was chosen as a pilot region for food safety and quality controls. So it's not just random raids anymore. It actually starts to look like a real systematic upgrade. Meanwhile, in Famagusta, authorities decided to upgrade one of the most problematic streets. The municipality creates parking spaces for around 500 cars on and around Salamis Road. The first 100 spaces are planned to open at the beginning of December, with the larger 400-car lot coming later. And for the first year, parking is expected to be free. So the idea is to clear chaotic parking from the streets and make traffic safer and smoother. So let's hope Salamis Road might finally stop looking like a car Tetris game. Tea and sugar bribe in Erkan. In Erkan Airport, one passenger completely lost his cool at passport control and started acting like he was in a bad reality show. Later, he tried to fix the problem and offered $300 to the officer with the legendary line, "Brother, buy tea and sugar with this." The officer said no thanks, and instead of tea and sugar, the guy got handcuffs and a direct transfer to court. He admitted his guilt, and the judge kindly upgraded his holiday to stay in prison while the case continued. The reminder, an airport is not a bazaar, and you can't negotiate your way through passport control like you are buying tomatoes. Times have changed, and your money can still buy you tea and sugar, but it can't buy you back respect or cancel bad behavior. So if you are flying to Northern Cyprus, bring your passport, your visa, and your manners, and leave the bribes at home. But if you think this was the biggest courtroom drama of the month, no. We have a case that makes this look like a warm-up act. In Lefkosha, the higher criminal court sends a very loud message to the education world. The general secretary and the co-owner of KSTU gets 15 years in prison, and the head of the international office gets 6 years for fake diplomas and misuse of funds. They even created a fake dentist diploma, which is honestly a nightmare material. The judge says these crimes destroy public trust and are dangerous for society, especially in health professions. So, if someone offers you a fast medical diploma on this island, maybe run faster than their printer. And finally, the scoreboard of discipline fines. From January to September 2025, the Ministry of Finance collects around 1.14 billion Turkish lira. That's about 23 million euros just from different fines. Most of it comes from tax fines, then there are court fines, then speed cameras, parking, with many other police fines that are not even fully counted there. There was also a mysterious category, other fines, worth more than 500 million lira, which is equivalent to 11 million euros, with no clear explanation. So even if the economy doesn't shine, the fine economy is having a fantastic year. And now, when you see a radar or a no parking sign, you know you are looking at a small piece of the national budget. And if you feel like the system is hunting your wallet, don't worry, it really is. And it's close to historical records. So this is November in North Cyprus. Budgets go red, fuel and cigarettes go up, fines hit records, and Starlink goes into hiding. But at the same time, classic cars race, tourists arrive, beaches get cleaned, food standards rise, and political talks actually move somewhere. This island, as always, is a mix of chaos, progress, drama, and sunshine. And if you watch this video until the end, you are now officially updated and emotionally prepared for the next month here. So don't forget to like this video, tell me in the comments which news shocked you the most, and subscribe so you don't miss the next round of Island Madness. See you in the next episode, and may your bills be lighter than our budget deficit.